Okay, let's get started. This is the information webinar about the new grant funding opportunity from the Bonsucro Impact Fund supported by PepsiCo. So, the Bonsucro Impact Fund invests in innovative projects that catalyze or accelerate sustainable sugarcane production. The Bonsucro Impact Fund supports projects that are collaborative, address cross-cutting themes, and have potential for scale, and take place in our priority countries. The Bonsucro Impact Fund was established in 2022 and has grown from strength to strength. We're now able to see tangible results and outputs across our portfolio. The Bonsucro Impact Fund has funded projects across our three thematic focus: smallholders, human rights and decent work, and climate action and water stewardship. We've so far launched 10 calls for proposals, received more than 120 applications, and funded 20 projects across 14 countries. We've allocated over £1.5 million in grants and mobilised 60% of the total funding through match funding. Great. I'll hand over to Sarah then to talk about PepsiCo's priorities.
Yes. Hi, all. Sarah Mercadante, part of PepsiCo's Sustainable Ag team, which is part of our sustainability office. And thank you so much, Sophie, for giving me a few minutes to share a little bit of my thoughts on the Bonsucro Impact Fund in this opportunity. So through PEP Positive, PepsiCo is prioritizing POS Ag, what we call POS Ag or positive agriculture, just supporting regenerative practices, farmer resilience, and ecosystem restoration. And this partnership is really about turning those ambitions into real scalable solutions in the sugarcane sector. So we are incredibly proud to be partnering with Bonsucro on the Impact Fund this year. We've seen the fund evolve over the years, and it provides a really great platform to bring actors together to think about how do we generate real change and also to contribute to a growing community of practice across the globe. So I think a key outcome, both for us and Bonsucro, is seeing how we can generate impact, not just in one geography, but to develop tools, models, and evidence for how the entire sugarcane sector can move towards more regenerative and practices and resilient communities. Our CSO often says that sustainability is a team sport and collaboration is really how change takes root. Systemic challenges can't be addressed in silos. So we would really encourage organizations and companies to come together to partner pre-competitively in key sugarcane growing regions to generate positive impact at scale. And the most compelling proposals will show exactly that, how different stakeholders can align incentives and co-deliver impact. And while the call itself is focused on nature-based solutions as the title, we're not looking for single issue interventions. The expectation is that projects will demonstrate the interconnected nature of the nature, livelihoods, and climate nexus. And for example, how improving biodiversity or investing in restoration strengthens farmer livelihoods and builds soil health and contributes to climate goals. So with that, thank you so much again to the Bonsucro team for allowing us a chance to speak about and to partner on the Bonsucro Impact Fund. And we're really excited to see what proposals come in this year.
Great. Thank you very much, Sarah. Okay. So now I'll hand over to Louise, who will take us through nature-based solutions and what do we mean by those types of solutions.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Luis Quinta. I am Vice Chair of the Technical Committee with the Bonsucro, and I'm here to talk to you not only about our expectations, this it was well put forth by Sarah in terms of PepsiCo's expectations, but how our technical council sees this as part of solutions that will really cause an impact in the field, especially by bringing in concepts today already well communicated in terms of how to use nature, how to look for solutions that will bring multiple benefits. In terms of biodiversity, for instance, sometimes it is seen superficially. We're not talking only of avifauna, mesofauna, but also the whole soil biota that I think is the most important thing in terms of biodiversity, not only organic matter, but the whole biota of the soil, the life of the soil. And of course, all that thinking of long-term actions, that is, what is applicable within each country, each local, depending on the size of the country, of each country. That is something very technical too. Increasingly more, Bonsucro has reinforced that because that may bring more yield. And today, in all the planet, I think that what we are more concerned with is not only with the soil quality and regeneration, but rather the highest efficiency use of the soil. So for you to have a high organic matter rate or percentage in the soil, do not have any operation in the soil unless it's totally indispensable and recommendable. Many people will, remove the topsoil, decreasing the organic matter in the soil without that being something recommended. So the proper use of water as well, the pest control, pest management, if it's possible for you to use biological management or even if it's chemical, but within the right recommendations, following them with the proper pest management, always optimizing results. I think that is another concern that many people think that the technical council is just considering the sustainability issues, but rather sustainability in this case, with this concern with the soil, is something that aims at increased yield. The soil is something that we increasingly more have to worry about, to be concerned about with the results that can bring. Each hectare that has yield below expected for the area will force new openings of areas, new increased area in other countries that many times is not the case. It's what we should do. And also always think about climate change mitigation, how to reduce carbon CO2 emission, taking care of the projects, considering projects that will take care of the soil, but also think of the microbiodiversity of the soil. So it's not only of your sampling soil or having some type of practice set forth, which is positive, of course, but we should also have to be inserted in those projects this concept of soil improvement and as a consequence, the increased yield. Could you please move to the next slide? So, in this second part, I just would like to reinforce that these projects could have pegged to them some type of climatic goals, climate goals, or should capture information on the CO2 retained in the soil due to the use of regenerative practices. And also for those who are already certified by Bonsucro, we do have indicators that, in fact, require this type of approach. And the more projects are related to the way everything works as a whole, then more productive that's going to be for the whole Bonsucro community. So the issue here is bringing on projects that within those concepts of nature-based solutions, we are able then to have more yield, better use of the land, and also positive impacts that will reflect on the social area, the complying with standards, and also yield at the end of the day. Yield both for the industry and for growers and to the planet as a whole. And as a last message, I'd like to mention something that I really would like to reinforce. Soil is not a resource, but rather is the source. Land is not a resource. It's rather the source of everything we can create in agriculture. Soil is the basis. Soil is what we need most to advocate for in the next few years, decades, even because there's limited cropping land, 11 to 15%, the rest is pasture. That has to be really well used, in alignment with nature, with the climate awareness, but also with yield results, mainly because that will help a lot to control the other actions that we may take in the future, especially what we talk about so much, that is, opening new areas, right? We have to fight that. That's it. What I'd like to say, Sophie. So I'm open to questions you may have later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luis. Okay, now I will take you through information about the call for proposals and how to apply. Next slide. So the topic for the call for proposals is developing nature-based solutions in the sugarcane sector. The deadline for concept notes is the 26th of May, 2026. We have two types of grants that are available. The impact grants are the larger grants that are available up to £100,000. They are for a duration of 18 to 36 months. And these should be demonstrating tangible results and impact for sugarcane communities, whilst also enhancing knowledge and learning for the sector. We also have innovation grants. These are grants of up to £50,000. They are for a duration of 12 to 18 months. And these are for pilot projects that prototype, test, or validate innovative approaches, tools, and or collaborations that improve production in sugarcane farming and milling. Next slide. So the focus for this call for proposal, the impact that we would like to see from projects proposed are categorized by primary and secondary priority areas as follows. The thematic priority areas expected impact are increased adoption of activities and innovations that improve on-farm habitat provision, introduction of habitat-sensitive practices to increase cultivated crop, adoption of practices to increase pasture diversity, ecological corridors, HCFA, high conservation value areas, and forested areas that are protected and regenerated, and degraded lands that are restored. The secondary priority thematic impact areas are healthy and productive soils, high water quality and water conservation, and reduced emissions from farming. The cross-cutting priority areas is around improving farmer resilience and community livelihoods. I'd like to emphasize that we will be looking for projects that address largely the themes under the priority thematic priority. So in that first column, projects that only address themes under the secondary thematic priority area will not be prioritized by our selection process. Projects that cover themes mostly under the primary area and touch on some of the secondary area will be prioritized. If a project also works towards the cross-cutting priority, this will also be favourable. So I would I would urge you to read that section of the call for proposals in detail and make sure you really understand how we will be prioritizing the projects. So just to reiterate, the primary thematic priority areas are the ones that we will be looking mostly for. The secondary will be in addition to the priorities under the first column, and the cross-cutting would also be beneficial to include as well. Next slide, please, Peter. Okay, project eligibility. To be eligible, projects must align with the principles and thresholds set out in the Bonsucro standard and contribute towards our strategy. We encourage also the integration of the use of Bonsucro tools, as well as building on existing results and learning from projects supported by the Bonsucro Impact Fund. You can find out about the existing projects on our websites, and we have lots of information about the learning that has been created already. So I would encourage you to go and look at that page. Next slide. To be eligible for a grant, the lead applicant must be a Bonsucro member and comply with all membership requirements. Consortium must include a minimum of 3 partners, including the lead applicant. We would really like to see collaborations across the value chain between brands and end users and mills and associations. If you have any questions on those, please feel free to ask. Activities must take place in one of the priority countries as laid out in the call for proposals. You will see here that there are countries in blue and countries in green. Countries in green are prioritized by the PepsiCo stream, and countries in blue are under the Bonsucro stream. So make sure you have a good look at that. Next slide, please. Under our eligibility rules, projects must be co-funded to a minimum of 50%. This can be through in-kind funding or cash funding from partners or the lead. We would also like to see value for money and applications that aim to achieve innovation and catalyse interventions, as well as those that have the potential to scale. So we will not be funding early stage field trials. We would question a high proportion of budgets that's focused on technical assistance or consultancy or capital expenditure. So we will be looking at those things in detail. Next slide. The project selection committee will be assessing and selecting proposals according to the following assessment criteria. They are collaboration and convening, sound theory of change methodology, participation and involvement of local stakeholders, measurability and impact, and vision of scalability. These are all things that the project selection committee look at in detail when assessing applications. BIF grant making is a competitive 2-stage process. Firstly, a concept note is submitted. If the concept note is shortlisted, you will then be asked to submit a full proposal. We generally provide feedback to be considered in the full proposal. If a concept note is not shortlisted, we will inform you and provide feedback so that you can improve your application. Additional information regarding monitoring of indicators may be required at the full proposal stage. After a full proposal is submitted, applications are selected by the project selection committee and will be put through our due diligence checks, and we will seek approval from our board to award those grants. Only at that point will we be able to award a grant. If your application is not successful at second stage, we will provide you with detailed feedback. This is the timeline for this call for proposals. So we launched the call for proposals in April. The call for proposal closes for applications on the 26th of May. We will then be evaluating the concept notes. We will provide decisions and outcomes at the end of June. And we plan to have to request full proposals in early August, and we aim for projects to start in October. So to apply for the Bonsucro Impact Fund, you will need to submit your concept note via our online form. The online form uses the same platform as our annual member report online form. Please note that only members will be able to access this online form. Text boxes for your response to each question do have word limits, so please keep this in mind. If you would like to prepare your answers offline, you can download the concept note form via the BIF webpage. You have the ability to submit your concept note in English, Spanish, or Portuguese. The image on the right shows you how the online form looks when you click the link to apply. You can view a demonstration videos on how to access the online form on our YouTube account, and the links are there, and they've been added also into the chat. Okay. I thought I would just run through a few frequently asked questions before going to questions from the audience. So these are questions that are asked very frequently. Can I resubmit the same project idea that I submitted last time? The answer to that is yes, as long as it meets the as it is relevant for the theme of the call for proposal. Can I submit more than one project proposal to this call for proposal? Yes, you can. Just keep in mind that if you submit multiple applications, potentially not all of them would be considered would be shortlisted to the next stage. So I would think carefully about which ones you would prioritize and which ones most closely fit the call for proposals. Will BIF support development of a commercial tool? This is unlikely, but you can always ask us and give us a little bit more information if this is something that is of interest. Do I need to have all the match funding secured or committed at the concept note stage? No, you don't need to do that. I would encourage you to have an idea of what the sources may be and start to plan for that at concept note stage, because it's better to be planning ahead. Do I need to have all my co-applicants identified at concept note stage? No, you don't. However, it is preferable to have, you would definitely need to meet the minimum number of partners. If you need to add or change your co-applicants, you can do that. You have the ability to do that through our process. Can you help me identify co-applicants? Yes, we can. You can contact your account manager who can support you in identifying potential partners. I thought I would put here your regional contacts. If you're a member of Bonsucro, you should know who your account manager is. Please feel free to reach out to them. They can put you in contact with organizations that might be relevant for you to partner with or to approach whilst you're developing your application.